A woman gets licked in her bed by something that isn't her dog. A little girl smiles at you from across the room, and every single instinct you have screams, run. A shapeshifter peels his own face off in a sewer like it's nothing. Supernatural ran for 15 seasons, and the nightmare fuel never ran out. These are the scariest moments the show ever delivered. Of Grave Importance, Season 7. Haunted house episodes show up again and again, but this one earns its spot for one specific moment. The mansion is already loaded with trapped, confused spirits, and the atmosphere is quietly suffocating the whole way through. Then there's Van Ness. Pure rage radiates off him, and you feel it through the screen. But nothing prepares you for when he lets out a blood-curdling scream and flies full speed directly at the camera. Not at the characters, at you. It lands because the episode spent its entire runtime building quiet dread before deploying it. Bobby tagging along as a ghost, while Sam and Dean have no idea he's there, adds this persistent wrongness underneath everything that never lets you fully settle. The whole thing feels off in exactly the way a great haunted house story needs to feel off. Asylum, Season 1. Season 1. Supernatural was still figuring out how scary it wanted to be, and sometimes the answer was genuinely very scary. Asylum throws Sam and Dean into an abandoned psychiatric hospital full of spirits who were tortured by the doctor meant to heal them. Dr. Ellicott believed the cure for insanity was to simply unleash it. And he kept that going after death. The spirits in those halls aren't just angry, they're completely unhinged, and they pass that along to anyone who wanders in. Sam falls under Ellicott's influence and turns on Dean, and watching Sam genuinely try to kill his brother inside that crumbling darkness is unsettling in a way the show rarely repeated. It doesn't feel like a monster of the week problem. It feels like something broke. The episode plays like a 45-minute horror film with better character work than most actual horror films, and every single hallway feels like a threat. No Rest for the Wicked, Season 3. This one isn't a haunted house. It's a slow march towards something terrible, and you can't stop it. Dean's deal is up, the hellhounds are coming, and every second drips with dread. What makes it genuinely scary, rather than just emotionally devastating, is Lilith, possessing a little girl and using that face to smile at people while she destroys them. Evil wearing innocence as a costume gets under your skin in a way a regular monster simply can't. The family she's tormenting has no idea what they're dealing with, and you're watching them suffer through her games while Dean is barely holding himself together in the background. Then, the ending hits. The hellhounds get him. Dean in hell, screaming, is one of the most gutting images the show ever put on screen, not because it's gory, but because it's Dean Winchester, the guy who holds everything together, completely broken. That image stays with you. Kids Are All Right, Season 3. The scariest thing here isn't the monsters. It's the moment a mother looks into her backseat and the child wearing her son's face absolutely isn't her son. Changelings replace real children and feed on their mothers, and the show leans all the way into how deeply wrong that is. Every time an adult catches a changeling's reflection in a mirror, what stares back is the true face underneath. And it's the kind of wrong that's hard to describe, but impossible to forget. The episode wraps all this horror inside what starts as a lighter story about Dean reconnecting with an old flame, so you get comfortable before the suburban neighborhood starts turning sinister one child at a time. That backseat moment hits like a truck, and it follows you out of the episode. Skin, Season 1. The shapeshifter in Skin is terrifying before it does anything overtly frightening. And that's because it looks exactly like Dean. It can access its new form's memories, move through their life, be them in every way that counts, and then leave behind shed skin, teeth, and horror when it moves on. That shed skin scene in the sewers is one of the most viscerally unpleasant things the show ever filmed, and it does not cut away quickly. But the idea underneath all the gross imagery is what actually sticks. This monster isn't lurking in the dark. It's standing in your kitchen, wearing your best friend's face. Skin understood that the most effective horror is rooted in something you can actually imagine. You can't fear what you can't conceive of, but you can absolutely imagine the people you trust most turning into something else entirely. If you're enjoying this breakdown, subscribing genuinely helps. And there's a full slate of supernatural deep dives coming that cover the brilliant, the terrifying, and everything in between. No Exit, Season 2 HH. Holmes was reportedly America's first documented serial killer, a man who built a hotel specifically designed to trap and kill people. Supernatural brought him back as a ghost and let him keep doing exactly what he did in life. The episode's genius is that you never get a clean look at him, just pale hands reaching slowly through a vent, faint breathing from somewhere behind a wall, a clump of blonde hair attached to something that has no business being there. Joe ends up trapped in one of his underground chambers, and those scenes are claustrophobic in a very specific, suffocating way, because Holmes is right outside, patient and waiting. The show never rushes to explain him or show him off. It lets the wrongness stack up until you're dreading every corner before anything's even happened. What you never fully see is almost always scarier than what you do. Something Wicked, Season 1. A Striga is a witch that feeds on children while they sleep, and that sentence alone tells you where this episode is going. It's old-school horror done right, all long, spindly fingers and wrongness, targeting the most defenseless people possible in the one place they're supposed to be completely safe. The episode ties directly into Dean's past, because this is the monster that got away, the one young Dean failed to stop, and that weight makes every scene hit harder. There's a moment where those fingers reach toward a dark window from outside, and even knowing it's coming, you feel it in your chest. This is also one of the only episodes where the score actively works as part of the dread instead of background noise. Everything in it is pulling in the same direction, and the result kept people sleeping with their lights on. Bloody Mary, Season 1. Everybody knows this one. You either said her name into a dark mirror as a kid, or you were terrified of someone else doing it. Bloody Mary taps into something close to universal, that specific dread of mirrors at night, of standing in a dark bathroom and not wanting to look up. The episode commits completely to that feeling and doesn't apologize for it. Mary crawls out of a broken mirror with jerky, wrong movements and stringy hair. And it's pure nightmare imagery delivered straight to your face. What lifts it beyond a solid monster of the week is that she doesn't kill randomly. She finds guilt over a death and pushes directly on it. Sam's already carrying guilt. The show will spend years unpacking, and watching him face something that sees exactly what he's hiding makes the whole thing feel deeply, uncomfortably personal. The Benders, Season 1. Jensen Ackles himself has called this one of the scariest episodes the show ever made. And he's completely right. The Benders works because it strips the supernatural out entirely. No ghosts, no demons, no ancient curse to research and break. Just a family in rural Minnesota who hunt people for sport and keep the remains as trophies. Sam gets taken, Dean's running out of time, and there's no lore to fall back on, no salt circle, no exorcism, no trick that fixes this. The terror is completely ordinary, and that's exactly what makes it stick. The show is called Supernatural, but this episode forces you to sit with the fact that humans are frequently the most terrifying thing in any room. Dean's closing line that demons make a certain kind of sense, but people are just crazy isn't a throwaway. You feel it somewhere real. Family Remains, Season 4. There is one moment across all 15 seasons that genuinely changed everything, and it's when the girl steps over the salt line. Sam and Dean have the family inside a salt circle. The rules say they're safe now. Salt works. It's always worked. And then she just walks straight through it. Because she isn't a ghost. She's a person, feral and traumatized and terrifying. Someone who's lived inside the walls of this house her whole life, the product of abuse so severe it's almost impossible to sit with. And she doesn't care about salt or iron because those tools were never built for her. The second Dean clocks his mistake is some of the best acting Jensen Ackles ever put on screen. Everything you understood about how this show works gets rewritten in one single instant. Then it gets worse because there are two of them. Family Remains understands something genuinely profound about fear, that the most terrifying things aren't from another world. They're proof that this one is already dark enough. Supernatural at its best made you feel genuinely unsafe in a way that lingered for days. These are the moments that did it. So which one actually got to you? The one that made you check behind the walls or leave every light on? Drop it in the comments, because we need to know. And if you want more supernatural content, subscribe, because we are nowhere near done with this show.